Take a look at this grid representing 8,000 days of lived experience you accumulated before reaching adulthood. But your brain actively discards the vast majority of those days. By adulthood, you're left with a tiny fraction, maybe 40 specific memories. That math is startling. Out of 8,000 days, you carry forward less than 1% of your early life into adulthood. And the memories that do make the cut are rarely the major milestones. This photograph shows a mundane retro kitchen, which is a perfect example of what actually survives. You might lose all recollection of a graduation or a birthday, but perfectly retain the smell of a specific Tuesday afternoon from 1994. We use those few dozen fragmented memories to understand exactly who we are and where we came from. We build our entire foundational identity on a statistically insignificant, highly arbitrary selection of events. Here is the uncomfortable reality about that selection process. You did not consciously choose which of those 40 memories survived. The brain operates an autonomous archiving system. It does not sort your experiences by objective importance or create a neat chronological narrative. Instead, it prioritizes novelty and emotion, filing away the moments that simply felt different. This means the version of you built from your childhood is largely the result of a biological selection bias. The archive was curated on your behalf, executed entirely without your permission. This is a building on the campus of the University of California, Irvine. Researchers here have spent years demonstrating that the tiny fraction of memories we do retain are severely inaccurate. In one foundational study, researchers showed people footage of events they had witnessed in person. A significant number of those subjects confidently described details in the footage that were completely absent. They had invented them, and they refused to be corrected. This is cognitive psychologist Elizabeth Loftus. She spent 4 decades proving that the brain actively fabricates rather than simply misremembering. Her research showed that you can successfully implant an entirely fake memory of an event that never occurred, and within weeks, a person will fiercely defend it as real. You don't need a lab to see this. Ask 2 siblings about their shared upbringing, and you will hear 2 completely conflicting histories. They lived in the same house with the same parents, yet they reconstruct completely different realities in their minds. Your brain does not operate as an objective video recorder. It is a dynamic fabrication engine. In fact, extreme emotional certainty about a specific memory is often a warning sign that the memory has been reconstructed. We all have what we consider core memories, those defining moments that feel intensely reliable. Yet the brain flags these specific moments as permanent while quietly discarding years of deep contentment. Those core memories are rarely formed during moments of clarity. They are forged during periods of extreme emotional volatility, moments of intense fear, deep trauma and grief, or sudden euphoria. Curious. Think about the paradox there. The most permanent structural memories you carry were recorded exactly when your human judgment was at its most compromised. Notice how this data funnel operates. Your brain has an agenda. It acts as an editor, actively sorting incoming experiences and firmly rejecting any data that contradicts the story it is already telling about you. If you view yourself as someone who is constantly overlooked, your brain retains only the slights and deletes the celebrations. Personal identity is essentially a self-fulfilling prophecy, constructed from highly biased data collected under the worst possible conditions. It is tempting to think that a perfect, unedited memory would solve this crisis of identity. There is a condition called hyperthymesia. Hyperthymesia is a rare neurological state where a person possesses highly superior autobiographical memory, allowing them to remember virtually every day of their lives without the brain's typical deletion process. Take actress Marilu Henner, pictured here. She is one of the most documented cases of hyperthymesia, and she describes the condition as a psychological burden, comparing it to living with a film reel that never stops playing. Or look at Jill Price, seen here holding personal photographs. She describes an absolute inability to separate past trauma from present reality. When she recalls a past humiliation or grief, the emotional intensity never fades. She experiences it at full force every single time. We often romanticize total recall as a superpower, but forgetting is an essential protective mechanism. It is the biological feature that allows humans to get out of bed, saving us from the crushing weight of our own pasts. So we have to rethink what a memory actually is. It is never a fixed fact. It is simply the most recent draft of a story your brain is telling itself. Watch this abstract structure constantly building and dismantling itself. This represents how your brain is operating right now. It is actively deciding in real time which parts of today's events it will carry forward and which it will quietly delete a decade from now. There is a complex paradox here regarding moral accountability. We need memory to feel empathy and recognize our mistakes. Yet the people who carry absolute, rigid certainty about every slight done to them are often the least capable of true moral perspective or forgiveness. The practical solution is to strip memory of its absolute power. You have to stop treating your own recollections as infallible, sworn testimony. You are a deeply unreliable witness to your own life. Once you accept that lack of certainty, you stop living your brain's best guess of the past, and you finally start living honestly in the present.